This Karamo lawsuit focused only on Detroit voters, the blackest city in Michigan, one of the blackest large cities in the country. If there's a new rule that needs to be imposed, why not for the entire state of Michigan instead of what would likely be an advantage for Democratic candidates?
Yeah, you've got me at a disadvantage on the finer legal points on this one, but I'll just say I think if you've cast a legal ballot, it ought to be counted.
Anybody who knows me personally or who has spent time really following my work, paying attention to it, knows I'm a registered independent. I'm not a Democrat. I got plenty of beef with the Democratic Party, but it's really funny how Scott Jennings can say that the Democrats are focused on voter suppression as a distraction. A distraction from what, Scott? The democratic process is the whole thing. It's like literally the focus in order for us to get anything that we want.
Scott, let me ask you about the question of voter suppression. A judge rejected a bid to throw out absentee ballots in Detroit. This was after a Republican-led lawsuit led him to that. The Washington Post is reporting that Republican officials and candidates in at least some 3 of these battleground states are pushing to disqualify thousands of mail-in ballots. What do you say to the accusation from the left and even some down the middle that say this is all points to signs of voter suppression?
I disagree. I think all legal ballots should be counted, and I think each state should follow the rules that they have on the books.
Republicans are going about implementing policies that are incredibly unpopular with practically everyone in the country. You know, whether that be reversing Roe v. Wade, whether that be being completely against any popular economic policy, even a public option. Nope, can't do that. You know, I mean, Republicans just voted against gay marriage in the House. They just voted against women having access to contraception. OK, you know, so what exactly are you talking about? It's a distraction. That's why Republicans are implementing voter suppression, because the policies you're putting forward suck. And you know that people don't like them. So it's not a distraction, Scott.
And that's what any political party should be for. I think the Democrats have been arguing about voter suppression for the better part of this cycle as a distraction, when in fact we're going to have a massive turnout.
I'm 30 years old, and every single Republican president in my lifetime lost the popular vote. I mean, what is that normal? That's just fine? Like, that's, you know, if you said that to somebody who didn't live in an electoral college system, they would be like, but they lost, so why did they win? And that's what Republicans defend. They defend their majority positions over and over and over again, right? So whatever the results are going to be today, you know, whether the Republicans take both chambers or whether the Democrats keep one or whatever ends up happening, the Republican agenda is what? Impeach Joe Biden. Why? Because we impeached Donald Trump. That's why. There's nothing else going on. They're completely focused on the culture war. So when Democrats try to put forth anything that's even kind of good, Republicans are against it.
Look what's happening in Georgia, which has been the epicenter of the election suppression, voter suppression conversation. Huge turnout already. We're going to have a lot of folks in both parties turning out down there, many of whom never voted a midterm before. So I don't believe in this. I think it's largely made up as a political cudgel by the Democrats, and I'm glad people are voting. I am for a higher turnout, and I think that's what you're going to see all on election night in virtually every state.
And then Scott says he's totally in favor of higher turnouts and he's totally cool with people voting. Well, then why is let's just remove Scott. Let's look at the Republican Party. Then why is 70% of the party still pretty convinced that Joe Biden's not the real president? Nah, he didn't get something went on. Something went on. Something right. You know, Donald Trump losing the election by over 7 million votes. Why are Republicans, well, specifically, especially MAGA Republicans, which is a growing part of the party because Trumpism is much bigger than the man himself, why are they still fighting for the fact that he won in 2020? Donald Trump's coming up in 2024 unless they throw him in jail, which none of us are holding our breaths about. His entire campaign, or about 75% of it, is going to be, I got cheated. I won the 2020 election. I'm back, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's going to be. I mean, so literally the Republican Party, as we all know, is just a growing fascist, racist organization. And Scott knows that, but he's a part of the team.